So today I'm going to take you through step by step on how to create a successful wildflower planting. We're going to cover things such as site evaluation, site preparation, what makes a good wildflower mix, broadcasting, good seed to soil contact, and at the end I'll give you some tidbits on what to look for throughout the progression of your wildflower meadow. So the first step we're going to talk about today is going to be site evaluation. Two important things to consider during the site evaluation is number one, how many hours of sunlight does your area receive? Ideally, with most of the wildflower mixes that we offer, you want to be getting at least 4 hours of sunlight a day. And secondly, the soil composition, just having an understanding of what type of soil you're going to be dealing with. Is it a clay soil like we're going to be working with today, or is it more of a dry, sandy soil? And you'll see that, again, most wildflowers are adaptable to many different types of soil conditions, and your wildflower planting will probably grow just fine in the soil that you're dealing with. So the next step we're going to talk about is site preparation. And this to me is the most important step in the wildflower process. The more time you take preparing the area, getting rid of the grasses and weeds, the better results your wildflower planting is going to yield, both in the short term and the long term. So the most common way an area is prepared is using a rototiller. These can be rented at your local hardware store quite inexpensively, and they do a good job just grinding up that surface layer, getting rid of the grasses and weeds that might be there, and exposing some nice fresh soil to broadcast your wildflowers onto. Some other alternatives, if you've got a real small area, you could get away with just using a steel rake with maybe a trowel or laying down some black plastic. So there are a number of ways to prepare the area, again with the main objective being the better that you can prepare that area, getting rid of the grasses and weeds in the existing competition, the better results your wildflower planting is going to have. And again, I can't stress enough, this step, if you're going to spend a little more time anywhere, this is the step you want to do it at. Again, the more work you put in, the better results you're going to get in the long run. So the next step we're going to talk about is how much seed do we need for our planting. There's really two factors that come into play here. Number one is how big an area we have, and then number two, what are our expectations of our planting. So a simple way I come up with how big an area is a simple length times width. So when I'm out in the field, I'll pace it off, taking steps lengthwise and steps widthwise, and length times width equals my square footage. This happens to be about 150 square feet. And secondly, is what is our expectation of our planting? Are we dealing with an area that has high visibility that we're trying to make a really big splash of color in? Or is it an area that might not be as visible and we're just looking to add some color to? So for instance, if we had 1,000 square feet and I want to really sow it to make a real big impact, it's a high visibility area, I might sow at approximately 1 pound per 1,000 square feet. That is going to give me a nice dense seeding. Another person might have the same 1,000 square feet and it's in the back of the property or there's not as much visibility. They may only sow about 0.5 pound per 1,000 square feet. And as you can see, one isn't necessarily better than the other. It's just setting up what is that expectation of what you want your wildflower planting to be.